How's it going, everybody? So today we're going to be taking a look at how to defend the B bomb site on Ancient. This is one of the most favored sites out of any map in Counter-Strike, with the T's going there 61% of the time. This is heavily skewed compared to the other maps. So it's very important that you understand how to defend the site properly. We're going to start out by looking at how the pros are doing it, and then what you can take away from that into your own game. The only thing worse than losing the B bomb site on Ancient is hitting a clip and forgetting to record it. So that's why I let OUTPLAYED record everything for me. It saves me time, storage space, and gives me the peace of mind that I'm never going to miss anything important. But what's important, you might ask? Well, whatever you want it to be. You can pick kills, assists, deaths, or even match wins. Whatever you pick will come up on the timeline, where you can then trim and share your clips with whoever you want, wherever you want. There are tons of supported games, so be sure to check out the link in the description for free. Thanks again to OUTPLAYED for sponsoring this video. So let's go ahead and jump right into the action by talking about the early round utility that you're going to need to be successful when defending this site. So one of my favorite setups is from Mal's, where the player with the far left spawn is going to do a nice run jump throw right off of spawn to smoke off the bottom of banana T spawn entrance. Then the player with the better spawn is going to throw a molly like this for right outside of cave, along with a nice little HE grenade, and the player with the further spawn is going to throw a further left molly along with another HE grenade for anyone pushing through. So here's what all of that looks like together. As you can see, they're going to have to push through that door smoke, which is already a little bit uncomfortable. Paired with a couple of mollies, they're completely corralled down here towards the bottom of banana. They put out one smoke, but they still can't pass through. So let's go ahead and break all of that utility down, starting off with that instant spawn smoke. So on Ancient, there are only 5 spawns. So if you get this far left one right here, all you're gonna have to do is find this brick right here that's a little bit above the others. It makes sort of a T. You're gonna go up to the very top of it right here, and you're gonna do a run jump throw the second your crosshair hits this stone right here. It's super simple. You're just gonna do this right here, and that smoke should go all the way up. It's gonna bank off the side of this pyramid. It's gonna land right here in the center of these doors, completely smoking off the T's before they're able to get through it. So now let's take a look at our incendiary grenades. So Shuhei, in his situation, he went to this position right here since he had the better spawn, and he ended up lining up this dark spot right here with the top of this blue line in this position. He ended up doing a run jump throw the second he passed this stone right here. So it ended up looking something like this. That molly is going to bank right off the side here, and it's going to end up fully engulfing this region to where they can't push through without taking damage. Now, in my opinion, that is a little bit of a complicated way to throw a relatively simple molly. If you come to that exact same spot, you can just aim up to the left of this blue position and just do a nice little run, throw, and release just before you pass that same stone. There's no need to do a jump throw or anything like that, and it lands at the exact same timing. I'm not really sure why Shuhei chooses to do the other one. Maybe it lands a little bit better, but I'm just not quite sure. As for the second molly, Brolin just came around this corner and aimed towards the left side of this tree and just did a nice little run through. So it just looked something like this. Now, one thing to keep in mind, these CT mollies, they're a little bit smaller now. And as you can see, this doesn't always spread all the way up. Now, in this situation, it looks like it didn't. It would have burned any of the T's, but a lot of times this won't fully spread. So keep that in mind. It is very inconsistent, but I'm still seeing pros constantly throw it with that lineup. And a lot of times there are gaps, but I guess that's just how it is these days. So here's an example where Brolin's going to be throwing that instant smoke, and Shuhei has the better spawn, so he's going to be throwing the first molly. But one thing you might want to notice here is the fact that Brolin ends up throwing an HE first and then a molly second. Now, that may seem a little odd, but look how well that works out here. It actually lands right on top of the T's, which burns them for even more. As you can see, you have a guy down here with 50 HP. So you may be wondering, well, why even throw this smoke every round if the T's are just going to push right through it? Well, this round is an example of how powerful that smoke can actually be. As you can see, Brolin's gone ahead and thrown it, and he's also going to pair that with a Molotov just in front of it. He's going to push down and get a little bit aggressive, and in the background, Shuhei has thrown his normal molly, while Jimmy has been extremely aggressive in mid, making the skill jump, and is peeking over here towards heaven, where he's going to try to punish any of the T's that push through that molly, where he's able to find a pick onto Magix. Brolin activates off of that and catches Donk trying to push the smoke, and just like that, they have 2 opening frags and a lot of map control. Another variation of this setup is when you're worried about that early banana aggression from the T's. As you can see, Stewie's going to end up throwing a Molotov that's going to land down there towards the bottom of banana, while Nico's throwing that early cave Molotov and HE. Stewie's then going to throw a nice little flash for himself, where he's going to peek down onto banana for that early information. They do end up smoking off that molly, so Nico's ready for any side of aggression, and of course he does bring one down, where he then throws a nice little flash for Stewie to peek off of, where he's going to take down a second player for a huge man advantage at the beginning of the round. So now let's talk about how to become a better caveman. If you've gone ahead and thrown your early Molotov, maybe you've flashed yourself on into Cheetah, and just like that, you've got a ton of control early on. If they're not being aggressive, you can smoke this position off, and you have a ton of options when it comes to Wallbangs. I learned most of these from a pro player named Holmes. I'm gonna link his channel down in the description because he has some awesome stuff out there. But let's go through a few of the lineups. So let's say you've had a teammate that's calmed, hey, there's a guy up here on the boost, I heard him jump up. Well, you can go right here onto this right screw, right in the middle of it. You can move your crosshair over to the left towards this little white patch and just start doing a little bit of spamming. And as you can see, that's doing a ton of damage to anyone that's up here. Now they could be anywhere around here, they could be crouching, so I like to aim a little bit lower. If you want to go for headshots, feel free, but that is a really good reference point and a very easy way to get a ton of damage early on. The easiest spam that there is if you think someone's behind this wall right here. A lot of people will jump up here to be safe from mollies or whatever. You can go right into the middle of it and just spam right into the dead center, and boom, you're doing 15 damage per shot right through this. If you aim a little bit higher, right, maybe up closer to here, well, you can do up to 17 towards the chest. It is a fantastic spam to go for because after, half a mag, if someone's up there, they're probably gonna be dead. And another really easy one is if anyone's tucked down here along this wall, or maybe they're just running through, you can just catch someone passing. Well, you can go right here into this position. And I've just maxed out my brightness so that you're able to see this a little bit better. You definitely don't have to do this in game, but for video purposes, it's gonna be a little bit easier. If you take a look here, there are two planks here that are different colors. You're gonna take this front plank that's right in front of you, and you're gonna cover up right on that intersection. And just like that, you have some very easy reference points to deal with. If you look down here, there's a screw and a couple of dark spots. To the right of these spots, you can just do a little bit of spamming, and as you can see, we've just killed a player tucked up into this position. So another super easy wallbang that I like to go for is I'll just get stuck right here along the corner. I'm gonna crouch down, I'm gonna line up the dead center of this plank with this little line right here. I'm then gonna stand up and just start doing a little bit of spamming, and as you can see, you're gonna destroy anyone set up in this corner. Now, ideally, you are gonna be out on site or in this area as the hit comes in, but if you're just unlucky and a smoke or a molly comes in before you're ready for it and you're stuck here in cave during the hit, if you think that the enemies are planning, a great way to deal with that is to go right here into this corner. You can crouch and just spam right at the middle of this light, and that's going to destroy anyone that is planning here in the default plant position. And again, it's definitely not worth dying over cheetah control. If you're out of utility or the T's are just showing a little bit more presence than you would expect, it's definitely a good idea to fall off and play a more powerful angle. One of my favorites is just going into this position and jiggling. If you do still have a molly by this point, if you spot him, well, you can just molly him off, take a better angle on site, and play around your teammates. Or another super powerful position is just hanging around this wall right here. Not only is it a really powerful off angle, since as the T's are clearing you, they're probably going to expect you in this position and not all the way right here. But what makes it so good is the fact that this is a shadow angle. Notice how as a T, as you're pushing up, your shadow is going to end up getting printed along this wall right here. So any CTs holding this angle, well, as you push up, they're going to be able to notice a little shadow here so that they can be ready for the fight and destroy you as you peek out. That same sort of smart retreating applies to the site player as well. If early on you've used your molly on banana, and then after that fades, you've used your smoke, if you're out of utility, you definitely don't need to be playing up close, especially if you're over here towards dark. You can easily get mollied out and be out in the middle of nowhere, flashed and killed without any help from your teammates. The same applies to playing behind default. You could very easily get mollied out and have to be out in the open. So I definitely recommend playing a position like deep slant here, where you're able to force the T's to clear way deeper angles to where they're exposed to multiple positions and a little bit more uncomfortable for the fight. Especially if your teammates are either coming on a late rotate or maybe someone's deep cave, you don't want to die immediately without giving those players time to rotate in and help you. So here's an example from a round that we looked at previously. Once Stewie's completely out of utility, he decides to fall back to a more passive angle back here behind slant. As you can see here, once the side hit starts coming in, Stewie has way more room to be able to fall back and take better angles. Mouse probably could have killed him here, but he sets himself up for a couple of nice frags. So yeah guys, hopefully all of this utility helps you out in your next CS2 Ancient match. If you enjoyed this video and want to support me, go ahead and click that Outplayed link down in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And always, I want to give a special thanks to all of my channel members: Mara Heckmadyar, Kona369, Habit, KMRTL, Jaden Joseph, Tragic TV, Marco Yolo, Fraction, DJ Pero, Restless, Comrade Norm, Till Yeager, and Luke Powell.